cherished veterans. As we gather under the sacred banner of remembrance in the hollow halls of the Royal Canadian Legion, we embark on a heartfelt journey to the annals of military history. A journey marked by sacrifice, camaraderie, and an unyielding commitment to the values that define our beloved nation. In this sanctified space, adorned with the symbols of our shared allegiance, let us first pay homage to those who have worn the uniform of the Canadian Armed Forces. To our veterans in attendance, may I request, with the deepest respect and gratitude, that you stand and be recognized as we applaud. Let this be more than a token gesture, let it be a true chorus of appreciation. Please stand. As proud members of the Royal Canadian Legion, we stand as custodians of remembrance, entrusted with the solemn duty of honoring the sacrifices made by our comrades in arms. The crimson poppy, our revered symbol, serves as a poignant reminder of the bloodshed on foreign fields and the enduring camaraderie forged in the crucible of war. In the sacred embrace of remembrance, let us delve into the chapters of our military history. The Great War, where the soil of Vimy Ridge bore witness to the forging of a nation. World War II, where the echoes of our brave soldiers resonated across the beaches of Normandy. Korea, the Balkans, the Gulf War, Afghanistan, each conflict penning new verses into the hymn of service. In the hallowed pages of our military history, the Great War stands as a crucible where the nation's identity of Canada was molded. The sprawling fields of mud and trenches became the testing ground for our young nation's mettle, as Canadians fought shoulder to shoulder, sharing in sacrifice and camaraderie. The Battle of Vimy Ridge, a pivotal moment, witnessed the unity of our four divisions under the Canadian Corps. Against formidable odds, our soldiers displayed a tenacity that would define Canada's role on the world stage. The victory in this theater, while costly in lives lost, became a beacon of hope, a testament to the indomitable spirit of our troops. As we stand in remembrance, let us envision the trenches where our forebears faced the brutality of war. The red poppy, inspired by the poignant poem in Flanders Field by Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae, serves as a living tribute to those who rest beneath the Flanders soil. In the silence of remembrance we observe each year, we honor their sacrifice, recognizing that the fruit of the freedom we cherish today was first sown in the blood-soaked fields of Vimy. The call to duty and sacrifice resounded once again on the beaches of Normandy during World War II. The conflict that thrust our nation onto the global stage as a stalwart defender of freedom. On the shores where the tides of war clashed, Canadian soldiers landed with a determination that would alter the course of history. Let us walk the fateful sands of Juno Beach in our minds, a place where Canadian courage confronted the merciless onslaught of tyranny. The bravery displayed by our troops in the face of adversity became a defining chapter in our military history. Juno Beach, once stained with the blood of our comrades, now stands as a symbol of valor and resilience. The global conflagration saw Canadians not only in the European theater, but also engaging in intense naval battles in the frigid waters of the North Atlantic. Sacrifices made by our naval forces, often overshadowed, were critical to securing the supply lines that sustained the Allied war effort. During the Battle of the Atlantic, our once humble Navy grew from just 6 ships and 3,500 officers and men into one of the largest navies in the world, with more than 95,000 men and women serving in 434 commissioned vessels, including cruisers, destroyers, frigates, corvettes, and auxiliaries, that all worked to secure the passage of more than 25,000 merchant ships, carrying some 165 million tons of supplies through German U-boat-infested waters. This growth serves as a symbol of our nation's willingness to support her allies and to contribute to the cause of peace and freedom. Let us also not fail to acknowledge the pivotal role of the Royal Canadian Air Force. The aviators who soared through the skies from the Battle of Britain to the strategic bombing campaigns over Germany played a crucial role in securing Allied victory. Their daring feats, often against overwhelming odds. The epic Battle of Britain saw 100 Canadian fighter pilots stand against the fearsome Luftwaffe, and before the battle was won, 22 of those brave men had perished. By the end of the war, Canada boasted the 4th largest air force in the world, with over 250,000 men and women having served in it. Today, we remember the more than 17,000 that never returned home. As we look back on our proud heritage, let us never forget these giants of men, this generation of heroes and legends that safeguarded the foundation of our nation and indeed the world. The pages of our military history continue to turn with each subsequent conflict. Korea, the Balkans, and the Gulf War, where time and time again Canadians showed courage and zeal beyond the norm. In Korea, Canadian soldiers once again faced the crucible of combat, defending the principles of democracy against a renewed communist threat on a distant peninsula. The harsh terrain and brutal winters tested the mettle of our troops, who stood resolute in the face of adversity. I would be remiss here were I not to highlight the Battle of Papillon, where two PPC allies stood their ground against the entirety of the Chinese 118th Division and called down artillery strikes on their own position multiple times to avoid being overrun. The Balkans, the region marked by complex geopolitical tensions, became a theater of operations for Canadian forces engaged in peacekeeping missions. The commitment to humanitarian principles and the pursuit of stability showcased the adaptability and versatility of our armed forces. The Gulf War further underscored Canada's dedication to international peace and security. Our military, alongside coalition forces, contributed to the liberation of Kuwait, reaffirming our commitment to upholding the values of justice and national sovereignty. As we remember today, let us give honor to those who served when our allies called, to defend those who could not defend themselves, against those that would spread ideologies of death, hate, and despair for their own personal gain. And in the midst of all these conflicts stood yet more Canadian men and women in foreign fields, donning the blue beret, an iconic symbol of peacekeeping missions that represents Canada's commitment to global stability and humanitarian principles. From the early days in the Sinai Peninsula to the turbulent regions of Cyprus, Canadians have ventured into the heart of conflict with the determination to build bridges and foster peace. In regions torn by strife and discord, Canadians have stood as a beacon of hope for communities in need. The principles of peacekeeping, born out of the crucible of the Suez crisis, reflect Canada's dedication to resolving conflicts through diplomacy and cooperation. In our remembrance today, let us honor the sacrifices of those who wore the blue beret, often in the face of perilous circumstances. The legacy of peacekeeping is a testament to Canada's role as a responsible global citizen, committed to upholding the ideals of justice, freedom, and human dignity. Coming now to more recent pages of our military history, Afghanistan emerges as a defining chapter, a conflict that demanded adaptability, resilience, and an unwavering commitment to peace. Canadian forces, operating in the rugged and complex terrain of South Central Asia, faced a multifaceted mission that tested the limits of our military capabilities. The sacrifices made by our troops in Afghanistan, both in lives lost and enduring impact on mental health, are a stark reminder that the call of duty extends far beyond the battlefield. This mission highlighted the evolving nature of warfare in the 21st century, where the challenges of insurgency and nation building intertwined in a complex web of next-generation conflicts. In our remembrance, let us honor those who served in Afghanistan. Their sacrifices, whether in the rugged mountains of Kandahar or the bustling streets of Kabul, are etched into the collective memory of our nation. As we stand here today, let us remember not only the fallen, but also those who carry the scars of war, physical, mental, and emotional, and also those whose service, while equal in value and necessity, was too often overlooked. In the rich tapestry of our military history, the contributions of Indigenous peoples stand as an integral thread, weaving through the chapters of sacrifice and service. From the early days of colonial conflicts against the Americans to the modern theaters of war, Indigenous Canadians have played a vital role in shaping our military legacy. The warrior traditions of Indigenous cultures found resonance on the battlefield, where Canadian forces stood in defense of the nation. The contributions of Indigenous soldiers, often minimized or omitted in historical narratives, are an essential part of the diverse mosaic that is the Canadian military. As we honor our Indigenous comrades, let us also recognize the unique challenges they face. The horrors of residential schools, the erosion of cultural identity, and systemic discrimination are chapters in our shared history that demand acknowledgement and understanding. In remembrance, let us commit to fostering an inclusive and equitable environment within the military and society at large. We must also not fail to include the stories of Black Canadians, Asian Canadians, and individuals hailing from every corner of the globe who have served in a Canadian service uniform. Their experiences, often intersecting with issues of discrimination and racism, add nuance and complexity to our military heritage. In the trenches of the Great War, Black Canadians stood alongside their comrades, facing the same hardships and dangers, shedding the same blood and tears. The sacrifices of individuals like William Hall, the first Black Canadian recipient of the Victoria Cross, exemplify the unwavering courage that transcends racial boundaries. Asian Canadians, too, have left an indelible mark on our military history. Soldiers like Frederick Lee, who enlisted to fight in World War II at a time when the Chinese had no guarantee of equality. While he would not survive the war, his sacrifice would go on to help earn Chinese Canadian veterans the right to vote, because he and men like him believed in fighting for a better Canada tomorrow by serving the Canada that they lived in at the time. Their contributions speak to a resilience and commitment to service that resonates throughout the generations. As members of the Royal Canadian Legion, we understand that the strength of our legacy lies in embracing the various stories and backgrounds of those who have served. In our remembrance, let us celebrate the diversity that enriches our military heritage. And as we honor the past and remember our fallen, so too must we look to the future and tend the living. We must confront the invisible wounds borne by our veterans, psychological toll that war extracts. Post-traumatic stress disorder and operational stress injuries are not mere clinical terms, but profound pain within the hearts and minds of our veterans. Wounds as real as limbs or lives lost. The psychological scars of war are a testament to the immense burden carried by those who have served. In the aftermath of conflict, as our comrades return to civilian life, the echoes of the battlefield often linger far beyond memory. It is our duty as members of the Legion to provide not only a symbolic salute, but a genuine understanding and support for those grappling with the invisible wounds of war. In our remembrance, let us acknowledge the courage it takes to confront the enemies of the mind. The stigma surrounding mental health challenges within the military community must be dismantled, replaced by a culture of compassion, empathy, and accessible support services. And we can't stop there. As Legion members, we must also confront the stark reality of homelessness among our veterans. The transition from the structured environment of military service to civilian life can be fraught with challenges, and some find themselves navigating the harsh terrain of life without the security of shelter. Homelessness among veterans is a complex issue that demands our attention and action. These individuals who once stood in defense of our lives and values should not find themselves without a roof over their heads upon their return to civilian life. It is a circumstance that pierces the very essence of our collective responsibility. We send them to war, some of them mere boys and girls, to fight our battles and kill our enemies. And it is a damnable shame that any of them should be found watching us claim to remember their brothers and sisters on Remembrance Day while they sit in an alley on a piece of cardboard that they slept on the night before because no one bothered to tell them of this help. In the spirit of remembrance, let us also honor the battles being fought on our own streets. The men and women who have faced the hardships of war should not have to endure the harsh realities of homelessness. It is our duty as a compassionate and grateful nation to extend a helping hand to those who have borne the weight of our freedom. As members of the Royal Canadian Legion, we find ourselves at the forefront of advocacy and support for our veterans, founded on the principles of comradeship and service. The Legion must be the vanguard for addressing the multifaceted challenges faced by those who have served. Our advocacy must extend comprehensive systems that address not only homelessness, but also mental health services, addiction treatment, and community reintegration programs tailored to the unique needs of our veterans. Through collaboration between government agencies, nonprofit organizations, and the private sector, the Legion can and must be instrumental in building a network of support that ensures our veterans, regardless of their particular challenges, are seen, cared for, and honored properly. As we commend our veterans, let it reverberate through the corridors of change as a testament to our commitment, not only to remember in words, but in deeds. To honor not just with ceremonies, but with tangible actions that uplift those who have given so much for our country. Here, at the conclusion of our expansive journey through military history and the complexities of the present, let us lift high the torch of remembrance with a renewed sense of purpose. As members of the Legion, we are not mere spectators in the unfolding of history. We are active participants, stewards of the legacy passed down to us by those who have gone before. Our commitment to our veterans, to remembrance, and to the principles that bind us must extend beyond the confines of these walls. It must reach into the communities we serve, resonating through the collective heart of our nation. The duty we bear is to honor the sacrifices of the past, while actively shaping a future where our veterans are not only remembered, but cared for with the dignity and respect they deserve. As comrades in arms and stewards of remembrance, let us recommit today with unwavering dedication to the principles of sacrifice, service, and solidarity that bind us all together. May the Royal Canadian Legion ever stand as a bastion of recognition and support for our veterans and their families, and as a living testament to the courage and commitment of those who have served. Lest we forget.